Hello, you're riding at 2200 meters. Cold air, loose gravel, nothing but mountains ahead. This road was built for war. Now it's just wind and engine. No traffic, no signal, just an old military road cut into the Alps. And somewhere up there, an 800 meters tunnel with no lights. Let's go! In July, I found myself riding in the Italian Alps alone, with no fixed schedule. One of my goals was Coletto Pramand, a high mountain pass sitting on 2087 meters above sea level. Up here, the landscape feels exposed, shaped by wind, weather and more history than it first appears. The road leading into the terrain is known as Via dei Saraceni, a name that already suggested this is not an ordinary ride. It was built in 1886 as a military supply road, not for comfort, not for safety, but for necessity. Roughly 20 kilometers of gravel cut across open mountains, linking a chain of defensive forts. Narrow, unmarked, and completely indifferent to where you belong here or not. From the first kilometers, it was clear this was a road that demanded attention. Loose stones, steep drops, and the weather that could change without warning. There are no signs guiding you, no guardrails, no reassurance, just a track ahead, and the knowledge that turning around is not always the easier option. This was a road I had been looking forward for a long time, not because it was difficult, but because it was honest. One reason I chose this route is that it forms a part of the Trans-Euro Trail, often called simply TET. A vast network of off-road routes stretching across Europe, from the far north all the way to the south. That isn't about speed or efficiency. It's about taking the long way, the quiet way, the road most people never notice. Gravel tracks, forest roads, old military paths, routes like Via dei Saraceni. Out here, modern life feels distant, and that distance is part of the appeal. Along the way, I took a short detour to Fort Pramand, an old military fort pierced at 2,162 meters. The road up to the fort is an experience of its own. Steep hairpins, loose gravel, and views that constantly tempts your eyes away from the track. Today only ruins remain. Completed in 1905, it once hosted 4 cannons protected beneath steel domes. During the Second World War, it played an active role firing across the border into France. Standing there alone with the bike, It's hard not to feel the contrast between how much effort was once spent to control this place and how completely nature has taken it back. After leaving the fort, I continued deeper into Via dei Saraceni. By now, the road had started to wear on me, not physically, but mentally. The constant focus, the exposure, the knowledge that help was far away. Then I passed a sign. The road ahead was closed. The problem was simple. It was written in Italian. I don't speak Italian. So I kept going. Eventually, I reached the Galleria dei Saraceni, also known as Galleria di Segurette, an 825-meter tunnel, curving through the mountain at 2,224 meters. There is no lighting inside. The floor is mud and water. The ceiling drips constantly. Inside, it's cold, dark, claustrophobic. The walls are blackened by time and moisture. The sound of the engine echoes through the tunnel. Good lights are essential here, but even with them, progress is slow, careful. Riding through it alone requires complete focus. When I finally emerged back into daylight, I stopped, turned off the engine, and just stood there, breathing. After a short break, I decided to explore further around Fort Al-Seguret. Then the calm ended. The fuel warning light came on. Roughly 60 kilometers of range left. I told myself it couldn't be that far to the other side. But doubt crept in. How far was it really? And how much fuel would this terrain cost me? From that point on, every decision felt heavier. The road climbed higher toward Mount Jaffaro. At 2,805 meters, it's one of the highest points in the area and one of the most demanding.
Then, around the corner, the road disappeared. A snowdrift, 10 meters long, completely blocking the way. I shut off the engine. What now? It was no longer about adventure. It was about judgment. I decided to try. The snow held. The bike made it across. In the tension of the moment, I forgot to film. Sometimes survival instincts matter more than storytelling. From there, the road finally descended. Civilization. In Bardonesia, I filled the tank and myself. Via dei Saraceni is a road I will ride again. Some roads shout for attention, other whispers. This one whispers, and if you listen closely, it has a way of calling you back. The next adventure is always waiting just beyond the next bend.